Hello. Hi. Hey. So in the month of March, we have South by Southwest, which was honestly where I learned how to be shameless, like being at a thing and like being shameless about recording. Because South by Southwest is about entrepreneurs. There is a sense of everyone there would love marketing. There is definitely a level of knowing the audience of the people who are around you and maybe would want to be filmed versus not being filmed. But when we dive into South by Southwest, which I'm gonna leave for the end of the video because it just has so much to say and I want to know how long everything else is gonna take, so then I know what kind of version I should talk about for South by Southwest. So I probably was like in my least favorite hair phase, honestly, because my hair was growing out a little bit and I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. It was just growing out just a little funky at that time, so it was funky hair. I like my hair right now, yeah, it's good, but mainly because it's curly. But to note, so I only was posting newsletters on Substack all of 2024, but in January I was gearing up to do this new adventure of making paid subscribers and adding more value and figuring out that, okay, so I do the first week and the last week I kind of have like a little bit more fun posting. Every weekend is the post for the usable content ideas, and then in the middle of the month it's like an actual lesson. 2 middle weeks of each month I teach a lesson on something, and the first is something AI related and the next is marketing. And so when we're looking at that structure, I lost like my actual favorite part about writing newsletters, which was like my theories and just like thought pieces. So I took to LinkedIn and I let that be my outlet. So I post on LinkedIn twice a week, starting in February and moving forward. In February, the only one worth mentioning, actually not worth mentioning, I have a newsletter podcast, so you could watch all of them. Not all of them, but all the ones in the early days. So in March, I started posting very consistently on LinkedIn, and this idea of where I was headed in conversations I was about to have at South by Southwest, one of the newsletters I wrote was Hollywood is going digital, because South by Southwest is such an interesting fusion. So you have technology, you have film, and music. That's the LinkedIn side. It was fun. It's a lot of thought pieces, definitely worth checking out. And honestly, all of the early days of my LinkedIn newsletters are on my podcast on YouTube and Spotify. The podcast is now called GibzMedia, and so you could just search on Spotify GibzMedia. That's the pod. Every month, like I mentioned on Substack, I kind of have my ritual ones at the first of the month. Or the first scheduled day of posting for a new month, I have a maximizing your whatever month it is, and I outline like what should your strategy be for this month. And for March, it's there, it's great, it's consistent, it's a consistent piece for my brand. Then we do the corner of the internet, and the corner of the internet this month was audio. Actually, this is quite a hot topic, and you know, for music on social media, you're like a radio. So when a song trends, your content could be pushed in front of people more naturally in a way where I think like a great example is, I think one of my first bigger bumps on YouTube Shorts was because I was using the sound "What Was That" by Lorde before she like released the song, and it was like that pre-hype. And so because I used that song, I got a lot of generated views because I kind of took this radio hit of exposure. And so when you're looking at that, there's like nuanced layers. So that's kind of what I talk about in the corner of the internet, because I talk about there's a realtor who makes songs, which more realtors should make songs because you can make songs with AI. So like, for example, we'll talk about it later too, but like I've made a song for a property. And the idea of him is he just makes songs where he's like telling people about his job or telling people, he's like kind of like a comedian a little bit. So he's more like storytelling with music. And then the thing about him though is that it's already built in audience targeting. So people who follow him are more likely to be re-exposed to his music, and people who follow him would be people interested in real estate. It's like almost like a client lead list. And then there's another amazing realtor who also does music, and she's a girl, so there's a girl one and a guy one, and they have different vibes, and there can be more realtors who do this, and there can be more people in each and every industry that can do this and play with that same algorithmic lead system that you can do through music with your content. We kind of jump into DJs at this point. So DJs are really great because they remix old with new. If you find a DJ that's mixing two eras or two genres, you're pulling people from two genres in that video. So people who would listen to Backstreet Boys and also Justin Bieber because the song mixed. You kind of double your exposure. People who might be interested in hold on your video longer because they're liking the song. So when somebody's scrolling and half paying attention to their feed, they can stop because of your content, they can stop because of a hook, or they can stop just because of music. So using DJs in that way. And then the last DJ I propped it up is Austin Mills, who's amazing, but more specifically brought him up because of his career. So in this idea that he was about to get his residency at the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas. So who goes to Las Vegas? People about to get married. Who buys the most homes? People who just got married. So you just had this DJ who's about to influence a lot of people who are going to go to bachelorette and bachelor parties. So knowing that subliminal notion that he probably will be on beat with the people who might be your target audience, just naturally, because he's, one, priming them himself, or two, that's his audience he's trying to tailor to too. So that was my corner of the internet. Loved it. It's great. It kind of goes with my month of March though, because I met so many musicians, so that was kind of fun. I taught 2 lessons. The first one was a persona template, which is amazing. Like, hands down, like the best thing I have ever done. I came out swinging. It's a workbook. You're pre-setting up a memory, and that's all included in the worksheet. And then when we operate the completion of the worksheet, you then have, okay, I have 3 types of people, type A, type B, type C. And when I'm talking to a client, are they type A or are they type C? And I can write my response just as I would, non-thinking, put it in the chat and say, rewrite this for the tone of, and then say my persona. Yeah, I do my bears. I actually did that where somebody texted me when I was on the go and I was out and about, and it was like a really serious text, and I was only kind of like able to half pay attention, but I also really needed to respond quickly. And so then I adjusted my message's tone to be the bear that I knew that they were. And the person responded really well to that text, so hit the mark. The other one was guides to pillars and batch posting. So when you're posting and having to consistently post online, there's ways that you can simplify it. For example, me doing Vlogmas, I have my 3 pillars where I have a fun video mashup with music of the content that I collected in the month. And then I have this piece where I'm actually talking to you. And then my 3rd pillar is something that I would want to post on LinkedIn. I always try to keep in mind in my pillars online are like my personas. So I know I have a type A, B, C person following me online, and what kind of content can I make that connects with all 3 of those people. But sometimes maybe make one of the pillars be something that you have to hand touch, because that will probably outperform the person that you're paying to post for you. If you're in a grassroots, this is not like big businesses. We're speaking to people who are selling on a grassroots scale to their people, to their sphere of influence. And if you have that, then you touching the post from start to finish will probably outperform somebody that you pay to post a polished piece, because what they follow is you, who they want to connect with is you, and by you being there will drive engagement. But speaking of engagement, my last post I'll talk about is the outbound engagement driving sales. So I think a lot of people in business are uncomfortable, especially if they're really established and successful for years at their job and now have to integrate social media to their business. They don't like to be in front of the camera. That's not something that they want to have a part of their business. So what is the solution? Your solution is that you should be on social media but doing outbound engagement, because if I didn't see your post but you left a comment on my post, you still left an impression on me, and probably a deeper one. Like you saying, "Wow, Gabby, your hair looks amazing today. Thank you so much." I would be like, "Wow, I love that they said that." And the next time I talk to you, I'll still feel that. So when I feel that feeling of positivity towards you, when you do your call later to be like, "Hey, I have a property on the market. Oh, hey, I have a new deal that I want to make with you," I have a positive feeling about you, and you didn't have to post anything. You just had to comment on a post I was doing. So outbound engagement, almost double as important as what you're posting. So like you actually commenting on other people's posts, maybe you should pay for that and not pay for somebody to be posting for you. At the same time, if you have somebody commenting for you, make sure they know who is important and that level of familiarity. Like if they're too proper with somebody you're super casual with, like they'll know it's not you. And so it's a total wash, if not negative points towards your effect you were going for. In the month of March, after I had a whirlwind of posting and editing South by Southwest, I also found the time to edit and post the Fort Worth trip that I had, which was wonderful, amazing. And Michaela and I had such a great time just driving around Fort Worth. She was so much fun. Such good answers too. Really grounded as a human. Loved it. We got to explore we got to explore downtown with the, what's it called? Stockyards. The stockyards of Fort Worth are very notable, notorious, has all the best shopping. She took me in to see this one place where you can make custom hats, which is really cool. You could tell when you walked in that the charm level off the hook, literally, because they had charms, lots of charms to choose from. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. It was so cute. That was my Substack, my LinkedIn, and the only thing in my personal life that I can really remember about March is South by Southwest. And it was so much in like 7 days. I think I couldn't stop talking about South by Southwest after it happened. It took a while for me to not talk about it anymore. But I have a full-length vlog YouTube about South by Southwest, so that's why I did everything first, figure out my timeline here. So now I can say, I'm going to give you a little bit of the short version so you can watch the really, really long version, 40 minutes of it on my YouTube. It's actually pinned to the top of my YouTube page, so like when you go to my YouTube, it's like the first video on my home. First of all, it was a local in-town thing for me. I did not buy a South by Southwest ticket. I think anyone that's been to a networking event for business, you know that there's the conference part and then there's the after hours network parties, and some of those parties are exclusive, like you actually need to pay or you need to know the person hosting to attend. But the biggest thing about networking events is the fact that all of these people are in the same place. That's why there's so much opportunity for amazing networking. And so I was just there to network. And so I never attended the conference. I just attended all the little side piece parties and kind of went in there being like, I can tell people that I'm marketing and maybe start working some of the parties. But also I was just there to network and figure out how I could optimize my own business with AI, spread the idea of what I want my business to be, which is essentially helping small businesses. And actually at South by Southwest was where I formalized my kind of sales pitch, because speaking to people who were just business owners of every genre and also people who were like very tech savvy, I explain to them my business is to be and teach small business owners everything Hollywood is afraid of. So everything Hollywood is afraid of, losing jobs as scriptwriters, losing all these jobs because the computer can do it for you, that means on a big scale, corporations are losing the need for all of these humans to do these tasks for them. But all of these small businesses that could not afford all of those people to do those tasks for them now have the opportunity. So it evens out the playing field. And it was very funny, interesting, because there's such a mix and mingle of creatives and tech and forward-thinking innovation entrepreneurs willing to jump on any opportunity. So where people were talking and what people were talking about, there was still discomfort about this loss or potential loss that AI could bring you. And I always stay focused on the positive, but that's just who I am and what I do. It kind of starts on like the weekend, then the conferences start Monday. And then it goes the full week, and then it goes another weekend. So it's 2 weekends. The first weekend is kind of like where all the pop-ups start. So like on social media, the Dubai one went really viral. So that would show up on the weekend. So a lot of Austin locals who aren't paying for South by Southwest, it's not too busy yet because some people don't come in until Monday. So that's kind of like when the locals start just exploring. Love is Blind did a pop-up. Love is Blind did a pop-up in one of the bars in Austin, and they had some of the past contestants show up and talk to people. And I believe, this is tea, I don't know, this is a conspiracy. I believe that Love is Blind is getting their funding from AI 100%, because what Love is Blind is you're sitting in a room, no human interaction, and you're only hearing voice talk, and you're trying to figure out if we can make an emotional connection without sight. So why would AI not be interested to know how a human connects with just verbiage? Anywho, that's my guess, is it's backed by AI funding. Here's like the best way I describe to people how random South by Southwest is. I got into an event. Sometimes you just have to stand in lines. Like I would just kind of wander and then stand in a line that looked like, and then when I get to the front, I see if I can get in or not. Because some things are like badge only, and some things are just, you just need to sign up and give us your email. So I waited in line for one, and then I got in, and it was AI conversations with actual political leaders. One of my favorite things that the business owner said was that AI is the new UI. Meaning, I want to be able to understand AI in the same way that UI should be understood. It will go across platforms. I can have my AI check my bank account while simultaneously be shopping for me. So it can go on Amazon and shop for me, and the same AI should be able to tell me what's in budget, because it should know exactly what's in my bank account and how I've been spending my money. Anywho, the conversations were great. Sat in it, even raised my hand, mentioned something. I raised my hand. I was like, so here you guys are hoping to find employees that know how to use AI really well. But would you say that schools are promoting using AI in ways that activate the critical thinking needed to be a good employee using AI? No. Like, I feel like people are mad because AI is being used to solve homework problems. So that's fine, that's a problem. But what we should be doing now is use AI to find critical thinking problems for us just to solve in general. So how can you create critical thinking situations in teachings so that people are using AI to solve a problem, but simultaneously learning how to use the tool in a way that would be applicable later. So it's not just figuring out if an answer is A, B, C, or D anymore. It's not about memorization. The computer has memory, and I have access to a computer as an employee. So memory should not be the focus for education, essentially. It should be application and critical thinking. And then from there, I left, and then I went to another bar, walked in, no idea what I was kind of walking into. And then it's Ashley Tisdale, girl from High School Musical. She was there talking about founding her brand and giving people advice on being a business owner, and especially for her starting in this business that's like being an actress and then moving into the business world. Super great. And then from there, I met up with my friends. I went and saw a musical performance over there with my friends. And that's just like what South by Southwest is. I went from a politics conversation to seeing a celebrity talking about their brand, and then went to see live music. All for free. None of those cost anything. And I didn't need a ticket. Monday started the actual conference. It was pretty serious. I kind of explored the conference area, which that building is completely demolished right now. Crazy. The Convention Center of Austin, they're completely redoing it, so I don't know what they're going to do for Southwest this year. But that's where South by Southwest was. And then got a text, last minute pop-up. I guess I had just signed up somewhere along the way and gave them my email or phone number. And I was like, great. On my way, I stopped and got a coffee at this one place, and I met some artists, so that was cool. But then I kept walking, went to the place, and it was startup stories. So you were supposed to share your startup story to the group of people. I was like, perfect, that's me. Went up there. The amazing Elijah told everyone what was up, what we were gonna do. I went up to him after and I was like, great, where do I sign up? And he looked a little flustered. He was looking for his helper, and I was like, well, I can help. And I got everyone signed up. And then when we were doing it, I put myself like middle top. You know, I wanted to be first. I went up to him first. But also I got everyone else signed up, and they all knew my name, and I was more engaged before I went anyway, so I was like hyping them up, especially because I got some people to like, yeah, you can do it. Some people were like ready. They were like, I want to be in it. Some people were like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to talk on like in front of everybody. Anywho, Elijah pulled me up a little bit sooner than I intended. And then we had a great convo. I love it. It's actually on my YouTube. A lot of my Southwest experiences on YouTube. And went amazing. And then he had to go. There was like 2 or 3 more interviews he did. And Elijah had 2 events going on and he had to go downstairs. So his next interview that he was about to do, he goes up to him and he's like, listen, you have 2 options. You can have Gabby interview you, or I can interview you and you can be the last interview. I was like, okay, I need to sell myself because he doesn't care that no one else can go after him. I have to let him know I'm good at this. I was like, well, listen, I have been interviewing people for a full year. I got this. And so I guess I sold him. It was great. So we get up there. I interview him. The stuff he was talking about was way over my head. He's like very into like almost microbiology. So I learned about the why of his story and we really clicked. It was amazing. And then I just got to keep going. Elijah was gone. I got off stage and I was looking for Elijah. He was gone and no one else was there. And so then I was like, I just gave the microphone back to the microphone man. And then I had the next person come up to me and they're like, so when am I going? And I was like, well, you know what? Because when I got off, I was like, now we'll take a quick break. And then jumped off stage and like, okay, that was nervous. I'm good. I'm done. Okay. And then I got off and then they were like, when's the next one? And so I got up and I was like, well, that was a quicker break than we thought. And just carried on. And I did like 12 interviews. It was crazy. I loved it. And it's crazy because what their place was it was like Texas House, but they're like the Funded House. So Elijah owns this business called Funded House, and he essentially views himself as a matchmaker for people who are startup businesses with investors. So essentially everyone watching was an investor or a startup. It's a crazy cool opportunity. It was wonderful. I loved it. That you couldn't tell from my videos, and that was worth sharing. It is getting late. I have been talking for a while, but March was just my favorite. The only other thing was I also got a second interview exploring the booths. So at the convention center, there's the actual conferences on the second level, but on the first level, there's the exposition. So you can, just like anybody who has a business who applies can have a booth. So it's like a, what's it called?
It's in your bag.
What do you think? That good? It's like a farmer's market, but for businesses. And one of the businesses is Brand Live, and their setup was them having a podcast because that's what they kind of do as a business while also doing corporate marketing for people. So he and I were having a great chat. We actually had to chat for a little bit extra because we were waiting for their sound man to come back. And then we got to do an interview. And then as like a freebie gift for me is I got the content. So I just left South by Southwest with amazing content, and I loved having the interview. And I even mentioned on stage, to look professional, to have a microphone is amazing because it creates FOMO. You're like, why do they have a microphone and I don't? And it's like, haha, listen up. Yeah, and at the exposition too, I got a free print of a piece of artwork. And then you go into the second weekend and it's all about music. Basically, all the tech people kind of leave out on like Wednesday-ish because the conference kind of ends on Thursday. Thank you. Kind of peak night of like everybody and people have been interacting for a while is Wednesday. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot nighttime. I guess it was that night. So I went to the exposition, got my free artwork, and then I met somebody at one of the events I went to, and he was like, great, I would love marketing at one of the events I'm hosting at night. The event did not start until 1 a.m. I was not told to get there until 1 a.m. The event did not start popping until 2 a.m. And then I got to meet an amazing celebrity, which was the saxophone player for Pink Floyd. That was pretty cool. And he was performing with the DJs, so the DJs were also amazing. 3 different sets, and then just the people dancing, and I was interacting with everybody, doing my thing. And it was really fun because I had not done my thing with 20-year-olds in a while. I was like, whoa, y'all are crazy. I need to calm down a little bit on the camera. But amazing. And then I got to make the post that leads up into our night. So then I went the next day. It's nighttime, it's the weekend, and it's all about music. So I decided to not go out during the day, waited for the nighttime, and explored Austin. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do the vibe of like Austin tonight is a concert hall. So that was my thing. I was exploring the city, and I kind of felt like I was looking for like Pokemon Go. Like, I felt like I was playing Pokemon Go on my phone. And I was just like driving around on a scooter or walking, and if I heard music, I would stop. So I met some street artists and recorded them. I went into bars where there was like really good talent, because any place that had availability for a stage, which is a lot in Austin, had people who were either in town, so you had just like out of town talent that was really great, or you had talent who was consistent enough to book on a night like tonight. So the talent was just off the hook. But then, sorry, I just can't stop. There's so much. So then I'm walking around, and I start freaking out because on my Instagram, I posted the video, and I invited the person who hired me and his business to collaborate. But I also invited Mr. Scott Page. He accepted my collaboration invite. And so now I've actually like published with a celebrity, and it kind of like had me geeking out. So here I am, like drinking, twirling around the city, listening to music, interacting with strangers. I bragged a little bit. I bragged a little bit about that, and it was so funny because there was a couple of people who I met. I only told like 3 people. But I was interacting with them, and then I was like, can I tell you a secret? Like, I'm like kind of freaking out about it. And then they were like, it was great to be around people to tell that too. You know, that was just fun. While I was exploring 6th Street, I ran into DR Period's team, and I met his manager, who is amazing. And she and I connected, and she invited me to their event the next day. And then I went from there. 6th Street was kind of crazy. Lots of people, and it was a vibe. But then I went to the Driscoll. Wanted to pop inside and see if I could get a drink. The Driscoll was popping. And I got in, and I got to watch the music. And that was like where they were having like real, like, you could tell like there was like some kind of contest of how they got there, and they were amazing. So that's worth checking out. That is on my vlog, and I have all of like their info when you see them on screen so that you can follow them, explore, all that. I met DR Period's team, so they invited me to their event on Saturday, and I went to that, and then they had like a tiered thing of events, so I got to go to 2 layers of their tier, and it was very cool. And the talent was performing to be exposed, but also just to, you know, add it to the portfolio, to the resume. And I was just out here recording and then sending people videos too. But yeah. So yeah, that was South by Southwest, and it was just a ride. I mean, when I started it, I went out on like the Friday night before the weekend started and got drinks, and I just met these people, just interacted with them, introduced myself, and they were the people who are in charge of the surplus funds of the entire country of New Zealand. And I just got to chat with them, and I got to ask them really interesting questions like, why are you guys here for AI? And they're like, kind of. So just like the people you could meet It was insane, and from like every genre. And definitely 10 out of 10 recommend South by Southwest for anybody who has a business venture, a business mind, a hope or a desire of a dream that they'd like to share with people, because you can refine it just by spinning a room and sharing stories, because that is the part of networking that I love the most. Is I can tell a story to you, and the way that you repeat it back to me will teach me something of my mission that I needed to hear. And so, yeah, that was my March. My favorite, really. Oh, my song. Oh, I guess my favorite piece. My favorite content piece of the month is this one. I am walking around South by Southwest. I just felt like the outfits were fire, the moments were fire, walking around the city just felt like electric. I was on fire. I was high on life, and that was, I think, the best piece at like showing my vibe and outfits. The song of the month is Act Your Age, because I feel like in some ways I had not been acting my age, and in some ways I still won't act my age, but I did feel like this song really hits a rebellious vibe in me where I'm like, yes and no. Like, you paid your taxes. Yes, we can turn this into a strobe light. Stop acting like a bad kid. You're playing around. You're being too proud. Well, it's a mindset, but you ain't even got your license. Smoking weed and burning incense. Yeah, you got dreams, but you gotta wake up. Chasing that relationship at your age. Time to buckle up. Stop trying to chase that fame. You're stabbing in the dark. Are you with it? Let's get scripted. Are you gonna make it out? Good for nothing, living shop out. Just because I'm living life how I want it to be. Speaking of this, I think you should act your age. Time to suck it up. Stop trying to chase that way. You'll never get enough. Are you with it? Let's stay scripted. Are you gonna let me talk? Yeah, 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 yeah. Dark. And that was March 2025. Thank you. See you at the next one. 12 Days of Vlogmas. This was day 3. Stay tuned. Bye.